Hello, everyone. We're back for our second conversation with extraordinary leaders, a conversation designed to unify, not divide, a conversation designed to take a stand against injustice and to create lasting change, not just inspiration. I want to thank you for joining us again. This continued conversation is because Reverend Jesse Jackson wasn't available last time, and it gave us an opportunity to think of some other individuals, and I'm so grateful they're willing to join us to add to the voices. The goal here is to get to a deep level of our own feeling and emotion, to understand even greatly, more than understand, appreciate, feel, experience the compassion and the love for our brothers and sisters who have had a unique experience, unfortunately, starting in slavery and then still experiencing what we're experiencing, the George Floyds of the world, the Ahmaud Arbery's, the Taylor's, the complete insanity and injustice that happens over something as insane as the color of one's skin instead of the quality of one's character. We tend to be so tribal, tribal about religion, tribal about race, tribal about politics, divided. And so this is an opportunity to perhaps shut up and listen and hear and feel and really try to step in the shoes of those that have lived this life. And the people that we're having are extraordinary human beings here. They're leaders. And they also happen to be African-American as well, but extraordinary leaders. That's why I asked them to be here. About half are friends of mine for years, and the other half I'm just getting to meet myself along with you here for the first time today. So I want to introduce them, and then I'd like to try to create the frame of what we want to accomplish here, and then we'll just dive straight in. First of all, we have Van Jones, the CNN political contributor. He's the host of the Van Jones Show and the Redemption Project. Van, I have so much respect for you, brother. You're a man of such integrity. I know your political side, I voted for Obama myself, I understand, but regardless, you've managed in the middle. I watched, especially in the last year or so, especially around the area of, trying to make reform in the prison system, you've really bridged both sides. I've seen you step out of what I see very often in television is it's like one channel is one side, one channel is another. I really want to thank you for that. I'm really grateful to have you today. He wrote Beyond the Messy Truth, how we came apart and how we can come together. That's what this whole conversation is about, brother. So thank you for being here, Van. Next, we have a legend, Reverend Jesse Jackson. This man needs no introduction. Civil rights activist, Baptist minister, politician, former aide and dear friend of Martin Luther King Jr. himself. Is it true you're 78 years old now?
79 in a few days.
79 in a few days. Well, happy birthday early. You've been an activist for 60 years. I've only been alive 60 years, brother. So we cannot wait to hear your sharing, and it's been a privilege to see you. It feels like a reunion. Now, last time we were hanging out together, we were both speakers at Tookie Williams' funeral back in 2005. So, and then of course, our next person, Barbara Becknell, is a force of nature as well. She's an author, a journalist, a film producer. I got to meet Barbara in 2005 because I watched a film that she co-produced, a biopic called Redemption. It was the story of Tookie Stanley Williams, a man who started the Crips and went to jail and was on death row for 20 years, 6 years in solitary confinement. A man who had a brutal upbringing and learned that he was either predator or prey and decided to become predator. And Barbara decided to go do a journalistic piece. I'll let her share for herself, but I think it was a little bit to make sure her son didn't think he was too cool a guy because, he was the coolest from the standpoint of the gangs, that's for sure. Came in to judge the man and fell in love with the man he became. And that's really, Barbara, why we're here. We're here to let people remember that it doesn't matter where people start, doesn't matter what we've done. All human beings do stupid things, sometimes horrible things, all of us. But we can change, we can transform, and Tookie's life was an example of that. I got a chance to spend time with him. But Barbara spent 13 years of her life supporting this man. After judging him, she came in and helped him get these books published. He was nominated for 9 Nobel Peace Prizes from prison. He ended the fights between the Crips and the Bloods by video from prison. And unfortunately, he died in this criminal justice system, even while he was serving others while we worked together. So we'll talk in depth about that, Barbara, and what that means and how we can extrapolate that to help other people believe change not only is a must, but it really can happen, and it does happen with the right approach. And Barbara, you're nothing but love, so thank you. And Barbara also ran for governor of California in the Democratic Party back in 2006 against Governor Schwarzenegger, who we were trying to persuade at the time to help us out. And then, of course, we have Derek Johnson. Derek's the president and CEO of the NAACP, and the NAACP, by the way, is the oldest and largest civil rights organization in America. It started in 1909, and it was started by white and black folks together because same damn shit we're dealing with today, right? Just violence and insanity and stupidity. But he's spent his life as a veteran activist, and now he's heading that organization in the 21st century. Derek, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And finally, Charlemagne the God. I'm just Tony the Guy, but it's a pleasure to meet you, brother. He's a cultural influencer. I was excited to have you here because he's the co-host of the Breakfast Club, but I love the way you go deep, brother, and you don't take bullshit from anything or anyone, and you go there. So I know that, we all in this room have large bullshit meters at this stage of our life. So I know that we'll get straight frame from you. You wrote a book called Black Privilege, Opportunities Come to Those Who Create It. I really love the whole thought process behind that. And it's also talked a lot about the anxiety that human beings have, especially African Americans, living in a world where they got to wonder, are the police going to help you or hurt you, and or hurt your family? So, Charlemagne, thank you for joining us, brother. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So the focus here, as I started to say, is let's see if we can't, by deep conversation of emotion, come to a larger truth. That look, there's 99.9% DNA in common amongst us all. We're the family of God, or the family of this world. And we were all black at one point. If you study history, we moved north and our skin had to lighten to survive, to get vitamin D, and we stayed in Africa. We needed protection from the sun. And yet somehow we've created this cultural conditioning of judging humans by the color of the skin rather than the quality of their character. And in our previous discussion, we had a gentleman on who was extraordinary. His name is Daryl Davis. He's a great influencer, great, brilliant man, also happens to be African-American, and he has converted over 30 years, literally 200 Ku Klux Klan members. And one of those we had on the show here earlier, which was a previous imperial wizard. I mean, this man couldn't be more racist, mean, or harmful as a human you could ever imagine, and now he's an anti-racist activist, so just shows the change. Tukey Williams, the example we gave with him, I mean, I kept reading the press at the time, trying to save his life, and the press kept telling the same story of what he was, not who he is. And that's what we do to each other. We had a police officer here on the last session. He was a white police officer. He's actually mixed race, half Hispanic, but looks very white. He's in LA and he's been trying to protect protesters and stop rioters. Not an easy thing. And getting called a racist and being attacked viciously. And he's married to an African-American woman and has interracial children. So we all make these judgments as human beings, this tribal mindset, and our goal here is to show it can change. So my mindset as a human, regardless of color, I respect everybody. I think that's what's missing. And my respect doesn't come because I know everything about them. My respect comes because